You ever stop and wonder where the future actually comes from? I mean, so many of the technologies that define our world, they just seem to appear, right? But what if I told you that a whole bunch of them share a single, mysterious, and surprisingly tiny origin?
Okay, let me just ask you this. Think about it for a second. The internet, which you're literally using right now. GPS, which you probably can't imagine living without. And stealth fighters. You know, the absolute cutting edge of military tech. What in the world is the thread connecting all of those?
Believe it or not, they all came from the exact same place. A single, small, and pretty secretive government agency. An agency that has had a massive impact on your life whether you realize it or not. We're talking about DARPA.
To really get what DARPA's all about, we've got to rewind the clock. We're going back to the height of the Cold War, to a single moment of shock and awe that literally blasted the world into the space age.
So, picture this. It's 1957, and all of a sudden there's this beep, beep, beep coming from space. It was the Sputnik satellite, and it sent a wave of absolute panic across the United States. They had been caught completely off guard, and they were terrified. The response? It was swift and decisive. In 1958, DARPA was created with one single, crystal-clear mission: prevent strategic surprise. Make sure America is always the one making the technological leaps, not just reacting to them.
And boy, did they deliver on that mission. The list of technologies that came out of this one little agency, it is nothing short of breathtaking. And yeah, it affects your life every single day.
I mean, just look at this roster. We are talking about ARPANET, that's the granddaddy of the internet. The Global Positioning System, GPS. Stealth technology that makes planes invisible to radar. Night vision, voice recognition like in your phone. Drones, touchscreens, even the lithium-ion batteries that power pretty much everything we own. It's almost hard to believe it all came from one place.
And look, this isn't just me saying it. The Harvard Business Review called DARPA's work the longest-standing, most consistent track record of radical innovation in history. That is a huge statement. So it all leads to the big question. How? How does a government agency, of all things, pull this off?
All right, so this is where we get into the really cool stuff. What is the secret recipe? What makes DARPA so fundamentally different from basically any other organization on Earth?
Well, for starters, you have to picture a typical government bureaucracy, right? Slow, tons of red tape, terrified of risk. Now, just throw that entire idea out the window. DARPA was designed from the ground up to be the complete opposite. It's tiny, it's fast, and its whole philosophy is built around taking massive risks in the hope of getting massive rewards.
And get this, the scale is just wild. They have a budget of around $3.5 billion a year, but they do it all with only about 200 employees. And out of those 200, the real power lies with just 100 people, the program managers who actually run the projects. The amount of world-changing impact they get per person is just off the charts. This building right here, it tells you everything. That's DARPA headquarters. You know what's not in there? Labs. Not a single one. See, DARPA doesn't do its own research. Instead, it acts like the world's most ambitious venture capital firm. It finds the most brilliant people with the craziest ideas at universities and private companies, and it funds them.
The real magic, though, it starts with who they hire. They're not looking for people who follow the rules. They're looking for dreamers, people who aren't afraid to smash through the wall of what we know to be true. They actively seek out the visionaries and the brilliant misfits.
And here it is, the core of their entire model. First, they bring in these top-tier experts, but only for short tours, like 3 to 5 years. This keeps the ideas constantly fresh. Second, they give these program managers nearly absolute power to chase their vision. And third, and this might be the most important part, they embrace failure. They know that if you wanted to invent something truly revolutionary, you have to risk it not working out. Because if you do succeed, you just might change the world. So, that's the how. But what about right now? What is this incredible innovation engine working on today that's going to shape our world tomorrow?
Well, as you might expect, the project list is just as mind-bending as ever. We're talking advanced AI, the super weird world of quantum computing, creating microchips that are literally modeled on the human brain, biotech for soldiers, and of course, the next generation of robots and drones. They are still completely obsessed with that original mission, inventing the future first.
Which really just leaves us with one final, fascinating thought. When you look back at everything they've already created, from the internet you're on right now to the GPS in your car, you just have to wonder, don't you?
What completely revolutionary, world-changing technology is being sketched out on a DARPA whiteboard at this very moment?